Okay, as promised, our Foreign Editor Sophie Mokoena attended the media briefing by South Africa's Minister of Department of International Relations and Cooperation, Lindiwe Sisulu. Sophie joins us now live. Hey, Sophie, thank you very much indeed for your time. What's happening there?
Thank you so much, Blaine Hammond. You know very well that South Africa has started its work at the United Nations Security Council as a non-permanent member of that important committee or organ of the United Nations. And therefore, South Africa will have to deal with lots of issues around the globe. On the other hand, we have to continue to push South Africa's position or in terms of different policy internationally. The issue at hand currently, high on the agenda of the Security Council, is the DRC. Now with me, I have the Minister of International Relations, Minister Lindiwe Sisulu, to speak to us about the DRC, Mozambique, US, and the Security Council. Minister, thank you for your time. You've just concluded the media briefing on issues at hand, particularly the DRC currently. Yes. While you were briefing us, I get a statement that the chairperson of the organ on politics and defense, President Edgar Lungu, is saying, looking at the current situation in the DRC and the contestation and the reaction to the results, the best option is the government of national unity. What's your response or what's your reaction? Yes, South Africa is not the chair of the SADC, neither is South Africa the chair of the organ on politics and defense, but we are involved because our troops are there. Also, we are in the Security Council.
Yes. Well, this question was asked at the previous briefing, and perhaps there may have been a crosswire on who actually said that. But I'm glad that it has now been clarified that the statement came from President Edgar Lungu. President Edgar Lungu, in his authority as the President of Zambia, in his authority as the chair of the organ, would be able to express himself on any matter that has to do with security. He is at the helm of the organ which is responsible for the security of SADC, and therefore it would be within his rights to express himself. It's a matter that I suppose he will discuss with his peers. It's a matter that would be put on the table if he feels very strongly about it. And it is a matter, whenever we have a situation such as this, various options are put on the table. Some of them work out, some of them don't work out. And we are where we are now, and we would like to join all those members of the Security Council who made comments on the DRC, because the overwhelming feeling that came out of there is that they were all very grateful to the people of the DRC for the peaceful manner in which they conducted themselves throughout the election, and also for the patience that they have shown in waiting for the final results. As you know, we are all very anxious that CENI should move forward and quickly provide us with the final results, and all anxiety probably then will have died down because we will have the final results. We are working with provisional results right now, and that is what everybody is commenting on. The United Nations Security Council had on its agenda the issue of the voting in the DRC, and it had invited the Catholic churches to come and give their view about how the elections were conducted and what their concerns were over the elections in the DRC. The United Nations Security Council, in its wisdom, also invited the chair of the observer mission of SADC to the DRC. It also invited the chair of CENI being the ultimate authority to declare elections in the DRC. And I listened to the whole feed from the United Nations Security Council, and I'm glad that South Africa made the request that we postpone the discussion, because the discussion that we had on Friday was a much richer discussion, much more informed discussion, and much less of perceptions and sometimes facts that cannot be borne out. This time, everybody was there to put their facts on the table, and everybody listened to the facts on the table, and all the comments that came out of there, to me, were very well thought out comments, and with a possibility of a proposal from South Africa being put on the table that we have a mediating team in the DRC, even as we await the possibility that many more parties will be wanting to go to the Constitutional Court to contest the election. It is their right to do so, and we are happy that they're doing so because they have an avenue, and it is a legal and constitutional avenue where they can express their dissatisfaction with the results. And it is better managed that way than in any other way that has happened in the DRC.
Minister, in the Security Council, what was South Africa's position, taking into consideration that us being there, it's not about South Africa, but also you consult with the region and the continent, because we represent the continent. What was the clear proposal? You spoke about mediation. You also touched on women, and what are the reasons for you pushing for women?
Well, you see, our contribution to the UN Security Council this time is twofold. One, the fact that we were able to get concession from the UN Security Council to postpone the debate. If we'd had the debate on that Tuesday, before even the provisional results were out, we would only have been talking on speculation, and that would worsen the situation. By the time we had the debate on Friday, we were all of us much more informed about the situation there, because the observer missions had finished their work. SENI had a provisional report. We had the United Nations representative there also making their comments. We also listened to the churches and the comments that they have made. So we had a much more holistic base of information from which to make our comments. And at the end, the proposal from South Africa that we send a mediating team was not to preempt what would be done, but to say, in addition to anything else, which is what we were proposing should happen, going through the Constitutional Court, in addition to all of that, we would consider, as the United Nations Security Council, sending a mediating team to make sure that the peace that prevailed in the DRC prevails right through until the final outcome of the results and the final outcome of the Constitutional Court.
And the women issue?
And the women issue is, we firmly believe that when you have women in a mediating team, the outcome is less belligerent than when you have men. It's just a natural instinct that women have, that they do have a sixth sense that is able to prevail beyond just what we've experienced in resolutions of problems over the years. And we as South Africa are pushing very strongly for ensuring that in any mediating team there is a woman component.
Turning to the bilaterals, the U.S., at the end of last year, you indicated that you'll be in the United States of America, Washington, to meet Secretary Pompeo. Yes. Did you have a discussion? What were the issues? Are you still going to invite him to South Africa?
I am going to invite him to South Africa, and I am still going to meet him. We postponed the meeting that we were going to have because it coincided with so many other things that took our attention. And it would have been very difficult for me to go to the U.S. at that time and come back and do all the things that were necessary to be done then. So by mutual agreement, we postponed it to a time when we would be able to spend time. And I did think that if I was going to go to the UN Security Council this time, I would have had some time with him. But I didn't go. We spent all our time on phones consulting. We needed to make sure that we carry the voice of SADC when we're there, because we're not there in our own right. And there was a lot of consultation that had to take place. So we spent 2 days flat out with no sleep, calling ministers, calling presidents, and having consultations over the phone and having consultations over meetings. And we were not able to go. But I am still going to meet Secretary of State. It's important that we meet. We have a lot we want to talk about, and it is about time that we sat down. I am thinking of inviting him. I've told him that our weather is better than his weather. Our country is more beautiful than his country.
And the heat has settled between him and President Ramaphosa and Donald Trump. on the land question?
On the land question, I think that when he comes here and he has first-hand information about what it is that we're doing, perhaps his president too will be given the benefit of first-hand information. But we would like to invite him. We would like him to be part of what is happening here. The way that we're resolving the land question is by far the best thing that could have happened to this country. Finally, we've come to an agreement that it is before a parliamentary process, and everybody will be given the right to express themselves, and that will be taken into consideration. And we've been at this for a very long time, from the time of our negotiations to now. It's taking us a long time. We want to convince the world that what we're doing is the correct thing. It is a constitutional imperative, and we are sticking with it.
And finally, Minister, in the region, Mozambique, tensions there. You have a situation where a South African, Mr. Hanekom, is arrested in Mozambique, and people are suspecting that there are allegations that he was involved with the group that is not allowed to perhaps participate in the politics or the activities of Mozambique. Secondly, you also have a Mozambican citizen, the former finance minister, in prison currently, and you as a country or Pretoria cooperating with Interpol. Can you briefly tell us, update us on these two pending issues that are likely to affect the relations between the two countries, and the president going there tomorrow? Why?
Oh, no, the president is free to go and see his counterparts anytime. This is a long, outstanding appointment. It has nothing to do with Hanekom and the Minister of Finance whatsoever. It's been postponed several times. However, the matters that you're talking about are before the courts, and any comments from ourselves must be very measured comments, because the law enforcement authorities are investigating this, and we should not complicate their life by making public pronouncements on something that we do not know much about. What we do know is that Interpol and ourselves have a binding protocol where they can make a request for us to stop a passenger passing through our ports and give reason for it. If we're satisfied with that reason, we act on it. And this is what we did with the former minister of Mozambique. We responded to a request from Interpol. And in the case of Mr. Hanekom, as soon as we learned about the situation, our ambassador in Mozambique went to investigate, found Mr. Hanekom, and was able to interact with Mr. Hanekom. And the consular services in the embassy is fully fledged and fully empowered to deal with that matter, and that is what we're dealing with. The case itself we cannot comment on.
Thank you, Minister. That was the Minister of International Relations, Minister Lindiwe Sisulu, talking to us about the DRC, Mozambique, United States of America, and the Security Council. It's going to be a hectic year for South Africa, being in the Security Council, representing the country, the region that is SADC, the continent, and of course being part of the international community. After the United Nations General Assembly in September, the President of the Republic, President Cyril Ramaphosa, will be the President of the Security Council. It's going to be a hectic one. Thank you. Back to studio.